the Guy Jeans podcast.
Hey, you guys, welcome to the podcast. Hey, I wanted to thank you guys for listening to the podcast and help making it become successful and helping it grow. When you guys get a chance, make sure to follow the Guy Jeans podcast on Instagram and Facebook. When you follow it, it helps it grow and it's completely appreciated. So thank you very much. I got a cool thing that has just started as well. I started a Patreon page, and the Patreon page is patreon.com/Guy Jeans podcast. It's patreon.com/Guy Jeans podcast if you put that in your browser. On the Patreon page, you guys can get exclusive audio and professional tips from the guests of the show. I mean, they're exclusive. Exclusive audio feed to private Guy Jeans podcasts. Exclusive content, behind the scenes content. You guys can request different things on the Patreon page. You get to see the show notes, and I'm going to give you guys a shout out on the podcast as well. So check that out, the Patreon/Guy Jeans podcast, and become a patron, and it helps support the podcast. So thank you very much. My next guest, Waylon Hanel. If you guys are into country music, you got to check this guy out. Waylon Hanel, man. He is an up-and-coming artist. He's from Michigan. He is coming up on the charts. He's got that Bakersfield old-school sound, country sound. It's pretty badass. And you guys got to check it out, man. Check it out on WaylonHanel.com and check out his music. He's got a song that's doing pretty good called New Old Outlaws, and it's being played on the West Coast right now as well as in the UK. He's on the charts, which is pretty cool. So he's pretty young, man. He's 21 years old, and he sounds like he's been doing it a long time, man. He's an old soul for sure. He's a self-taught musician and he's a self-taught singer, and his voice is characterized by endearing ability to captivate audiences. The Michigan native has quickly become recognized for his down-to-earth style, bold delivery, and vivid storytelling. Named after country music legend Waylon Jennings, who is one of his biggest musical influences, Hanel is honing his skills to develop a vintage signature style of his own. His music and recordings are a testament to his unique artistic individuality and powerful delivery well beyond his years. In the 5 short years since Waylon launched his musical career, he has performed and supported acts opening for Uncle Kracker, Trace Adkins, Chris Cagle, Elvie Shane, Tyler Farr, and Jody Messina. Waylon's 2023 tour schedule is fast approaching more than 75 show dates. He released his self-titled EP, Waylon Hanel, in November 2022, featuring 5 original tunes, and is poised to introduce his sophomore CD, New Old Outlaws, in June 2023. New Old Outlaws Rewind, a re-recording of the original title track, is spotlighted as the bonus track and receiving early welcome and applause from country radio stations around the country and its listeners abroad. So without further ado, Waylon Hanel. Waylon, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Guy?
I'm doing really good, man. Thanks for being on my podcast.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me. I was looking forward to this all day and night, man.
Awesome. Did you gig last night, if I read right?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I had a show from 8 to 10.
Where did you play at?
It's just a local beer joint in town. I live in Millington, Michigan, so it's called Benny's Beer Hall.
Awesome, man. How'd it go?
Yeah, it was great. It was the first time playing in my hometown in almost a year, so it was nice to see all the local people.
I was looking at your schedule, and you're playing a lot in Michigan. There's a lot of shows going on in Michigan, huh?
Yeah. We, I'm from Michigan, Millington, and it was weird. This past 2 years we were really breaking off. And when I say we, me, mom, and dad, we've been breaking out of Michigan, going to like Indiana, Tennessee, Florida. But we do most of our booking and shows in Michigan just to gain fan base, you know?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I get it, for sure. Are you planning on going anywhere else, like out to the West Coast? The reason why I say that, man, is I was listening to your music, which is awesome. The sound that you have would just go over so well in the Bakersfield, California area.
Really?
Yeah, it's you know that you've heard of the Bakersfield sound, you know, Buck Owens and all that, you know, Merle Haggard, you know, from Bakersfield, and there's a whole group of thousands of people in Bakersfield that love that type of music, your type of music, and you'd be a hit here, man.
Well, cool, man. Yeah, I would have to talk with Ma. Ma's the manager.
Oh, yeah. That was going to be one of my questions. Like, how do you get all these gigs and stuff, you know?
She's my manager, booking agent. She does all that good stuff. But, yeah, man, I'd have to do some calling around and tell her to get on going out to California. I've never visited.
You know, I sent it to some friends who actually do some booking of, like, country artists out here and have shindigs and stuff like that, and they were just blown away. They thought you were awesome, man. So you might be getting a call.
Well, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
They bring artists into Bakersfield all the time to do shows and benefits and stuff like that. They've even had a lady, Jody Messina, out here that you've played with. Looking at your bio and stuff, and she's been out playing out here as well.
Really? Well, cool, man. Yeah. Jody's a sweet gal. She's awesome, man. I'm this year at the Birch Run Speedway. I'm going to be opening up for her for the second time, so that's something cool to look forward to. So,
how long have you been doing this now? I mean, you're 21 years old, so you have been doing it for a while, or?
Yeah, quite. Well, not too long, to be honest. The first time I ever pretty much touched a guitar and started playing it, I asked for one for Christmas when I was 15 years old. Mm-hmm. And Mom and Dad finally broke down and bought me one. And so I taught myself how to play. Never had a lesson or nothing like that. And just taught myself off YouTube and stuff. And anyway, I learned how to play Walk the Line. That was my very first song I ever learned how to play. And that's all I wanted to play. Like, that's it. Yeah. But once you get the bug, you start learning more songs and doing some stuff, you know. So, what was that?
I was going to ask you, do you have a band that you play with, or are you just playing by yourself?
Yep, I'm just playing by myself, man.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've opened up for all these people by myself as well, no band or nothing.
Uh-huh. Is there a plan, like, to get a backing band, or are you just going to keep playing, you know, your guitar and up there in front of audiences?
The plan is to get a band when the time comes.
Sure.
I mean, I don't want to brag or nothing. I'm not, but so far what I've been doing has been working.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to change any of that stuff. I have great friends and stuff that I would love to give a call and start something, but I mean, a band's a lot of work, and it's just, you gotta stay on top of things. You gotta stay on top of practice, let them know what songs you want to learn. It's just a lot more than wanting to learn a song and playing it in front of a bunch of people. So, that's it.
I get it, man. I have a band myself, and we're 8 pieces. And so if you can imagine all those personalities, you get it. Yeah, for sure. So are you songwriting as well? Like some of your own original tunes?
Yeah. I do a little bit of writing as well. Most of the stuff that I've wrote was with a hit songwriter named Bernie Nelson. He lives down in Texas, in Fredericksburg, Texas. And what's cool, he lived in Nashville for like 30 years, man. And he finally got fed up with it, just Nashville not being like it used to be, you know, kind of corporate.
Uh-huh.
So, and the style came in, so he got out of there, moved to Texas, and started, you know, writing and doing stuff on the Texas chart, still traveling back to Tennessee and doing his recording and whatnot. But a local radio DJ up in Michigan, his name's Dan Richards, and his lovely wife, Georgianne, they were friends with Bernie, and they hooked me up with him saying, we got this young kid out of Michigan. He'd love to come down to Fredericksburg, Texas, and write some songs with you if you don't mind. So we did a weekend at Bernie's, and it's not like the movie.
Yeah.
But what you do, you pay him to stay with him at his house, and you write songs. Well, that first weekend at Bernie's turned into me going down there once a year and writing songs with him for fun. Wow. So I'm very fortunate for Dan and Georgianne for hooking me up with him, and very fortunate for Bernie for even letting me come down there. You know, he could have said, no, I'm busy, but he took the chance, and we ended up getting a song that was number 54 on the Music Row chart in Nashville out of it.
Which song is that?
It's the EP that I have coming out. It's entitled New Old Outlaws.
Yeah.
And it's the title track off of that EP, New Old Outlaws.
Mm-hmm.
And so we put it out. My team, Music City Media out of Nashville, Tennessee, is my publicist. And they've been working really, really hard for me and all that stuff, getting my name out there, putting me in magazines, getting me podcasts and different, radio stations and all that.
Yeah.
And they got that song on the chart, man. And for an independent artist, for my first debut single, it went to number 54.
What's that like, man? Was that just amazing?
It was pretty cool. I was jumping in the air, man, when
awesome.
Song number 8.
That's so cool.
I was so happy because that chart goes all the way to 100.
Yeah.
So what's funny, the chart goes all the way to 100, but only the top 80 are shown. Mm-hmm. So like if you looked up the Music Row chart in Nashville, Tennessee, you would see 80 to 1. Like those are the numbers that you'd see.
Mm-hmm.
And my song came in at 80, I believe. It didn't even start at 100. And I was jumping up and down like, oh my God, I actually did it. It was so cool. And that song climbed all the way to 54 for 11 weeks. It was on there 11 weeks, and it moved up that many steps.
Wow, man.
So it was energetic, man.
So did you get to hear the song on the radio in your area at all?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It's kind of a weird feeling, man. You feel weird, you feel nervous, you feel anxious. I felt more nervous because, when you hear your own voice on a recording, you're like, ooh, I don't sound good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was crazy. That was the day I got the most phone calls in my life. That's
an amazing accomplishment, man. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, guy. It was cool.
That song is a great song, man. I want to get into that. I want to get into that songwriting process. So when you go down to Bernie's and you guys are sitting there and you're getting ready to write a song, describe that to me, like what it's like and the process and how that all goes down. So
songwriting is, and I don't know how familiar you are with it, but songwriting is not really what you think. It's not really like a job. You don't have a set time to go in, you punch the clock, you do your thing, you punch out, you go home. That's not how it is. Now, with that being said, when I go down there for 2 weeks, the job is to write songs. That's why I'm there. But mainly, you have to have an idea. There's no song without an idea. So usually, before you write, you have an idea of what you want to say. You have a title. Titles are like number one biggest thing you want to have, because that title gives you an idea, and the idea expresses words. So when you write, you write what you know, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And if you tell Bernie, and Bernie's been doing it for over 30 years, 40 years. So he knows what words work, what phrases work. So it's awesome to have him on my side in teaching me, kind of putting me under his wing, telling me kind of what to do. So I give him a title or an idea, and I'm trying to think my brains out on what I could say in the first verse. And he goes, how does this work? And he says something, And I'm like, holy crap, like that sounds great, but it doesn't really work with the song. And he just ties it all together. It blends and it flows. Mm-hmm. So that right there is what I'm trying to, learn as I go. But the process is just unbelievable. There's no set time. It's just when you have an idea, you go. And it could take 30 minutes to write. It could take a day to write. It could take 10 years to write.
Right. Yeah, that's, when it flows for sure. Exactly. And so when you guys are sitting there and he's talking and you're thinking about what to write and everything, how do you guys pick what chords to use with those words? So
it was kind of cool. On this last EP or on this upcoming EP, we wrote it a year ago, so it's weird to think of it being new.
Yeah.
But the new EP coming out, all the melody and the music, pretty much I came up with. When I write, I always have to have a melody behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I just start playing, and if I like what something sounds like, I just keep going. I'll maybe throw some different things in there, but just keep going, playing, and seeing what I can come up with. And Bernie, he'll go, hey, keep playing that. I like that groove. And then he sometimes can come up with a verse like that, or a chorus, or I could do the same thing, and it just goes from there.
So you guys are writing the verse, and then does the verse go into something, and then almost like a pre-chorus, and then does that go into the actual hook and chorus like that? Are you guys thinking like that?
Sometimes. Every song is, some songs start with a chorus.
Yeah.
Don't Rock the Jukebox by Alan Jackson. That starts with a chorus.
Mm-hmm.
So, every song's different. It just happens to be that ours start with verses.
Yeah. So when you play, let's say you wrote that song and then you go, okay, I'm going to perform this in front of an audience. What's the reaction? Are you nervous going up there and playing it for the first time in front of folks? Or are you telling folks, hey, I wrote a new song. I'm going to play it for you guys. How does that go down?
Yeah. So, of course you're going to be a little nervous.
Of course. Yeah.
Because only you know this song. Nobody else, everybody's ears are virgin at this point.
Yeah.
They've never heard this music, heard these lyrics together. So of course you're going to be nervous. You got to believe in it. And if you believe in it and play it like you believe it, most of the time people will believe you.
Yeah. That makes sense for sure.
Yeah. So, if you go to a concert and you see the artist having fun, you're having twice as much fun.
Right. So are you getting that reaction? Like when you played that song, New Old Outlaws, for the first time, what was the reaction of the crowd?
The reaction was epic, dude. The first
awesome.
The first time I ever played it, I'm not joking. I felt like I was Chris Stapleton. People were screaming, going, hell yeah, oh my God. Like they were literally on fire about it.
Yeah.
And just like, man, this song is a lot better than I thought it was. I knew it was good, but I was just blown away.
Yeah. That must be a really cool feeling, man. Seeing everybody just digging your song that you wrote,
Oh, dude, just to bring people joy, that right there got me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it probably feels like when you're up there playing that you're doing what you love, but it probably doesn't feel like work, does it?
Oh, not at all, dude. Not at all. What job can you go to and smile the entire time?
Right.
I don't know many.
Are you playing you're playing like every kind of venue there is? Looking at some of the different places that you're playing at.
Yeah, I play a little bit of everything, or a little bit of everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've played from the machine shop to a coffee store.
Yeah.
Some of the places that I'm playing now are a little bit bigger venues. Like when I say venue, it could be the Capitol Theater or it could be a bar. But the bars that I'm playing now, are bigger capacity of people. Some of them even sell tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm moving up very slowly, but it's a pretty cool feeling to have behind you.
Yeah, keep doing it, man. And you have something. And I mean, as soon as I put on the music and listen to your music, I'm like, okay, this guy's got it going on for sure. Yeah, just keep doing it, man.
I will, for sure.
Yeah, there's another guy I interviewed on my podcast. His name's Kyle Smith. He's a kind of a reggae punk kind of artist, you know?
Yeah.
And he's doing the same thing, man. And he started out very similar to you and started playing. I mean, he plays a ridiculous amount of shows, man, but he's just working hard, you know, just going for it and grinding and playing all these cities. He's touring now all over the place, right? All over the US and whatnot. And he's just working his butt off, man. And he's climbing and climbing and climbing. And I'm proud of him, man. He's doing a great job.
That's what you got to do, man. Like if you want it, you got to, it's a crazy thing. I don't remember where I heard this, but it was one of the coolest things I've ever heard in my life. And I try to live by it. I'm not trying to be cliche, but I try to live by it. It says, if you want to make it big, act like it. And I'm not saying act stuck up like a punk. I'm not saying punk, but you know, like that attitude and just towards people and stuff. Yeah. You know, be respectful, but act like you're the shit if you want to think about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Get it done.
Exactly. And the more you act like it, the sooner you're going to be there because you believe in yourself.
Awesome.
It's crazy.
There's a place, I was looking at your tour schedule, and there's a place called, this is because I'm, you know, I own a fly fishing store here in Kernville, California. And so I saw this place you're playing at, the show that you're playing. It's called the Michigan Brown Trout Festival. What is that? Okay. That's so pretty cool.
It's up in Alpena, Michigan. That's like 2.5, 3 hours away from us. Damn near straight north. And I played up there last year, not at this festival, but at a bar up there or a venue. I forgot where. And they invited me back. They go, hey, we want you to do this festival. It's called the Brown Trout Festival. I go, ooh, that sounds cool. Do I get to go fishing or something? She goes, well, if you come up early, but we're paying you to play. I'm like, oh, okay.
So is it like is it an opener for their season or something?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe so.
That's one of the things about Michigan I've heard. I've never been there, is that you guys have some great fishing and hunting in that area. And I've heard through the grapevine that you come from a family of outdoor folks. Is that right?
Oh yeah. Michigan is sportsman paradise, man. We got, seriously, we damn near have everything. We got elk, black bear, otters, deer, everything, trout, salmon.
Yeah. Steelhead.
We even got sturgeon.
Yeah. So is your dad, is he in the outdoor industry or does stuff with outdoor stuff?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's a carpenter by trade, but we're serious hunters.
Oh, are you?
Oh yeah. My favorite thing is taking my compound bow out in the woods and just whack them and stack them. That is my favorite thing to do. I mean, if I could do that over music, it would be a very hard decision. Hopefully I can be like Ted Nugent one day.
What are you hunting? Like what with your bow?
Mainly whitetail.
Okay.
I mean, if a coyote just happens to come through, I might take a shot at him.
What about turkey? Do you guys have turkeys rolling around in there?
Oh yeah, we actually just had a dozen of them in the backyard at the feeder today.
Oh, did you really?
Oh yeah, they were coming out, just checking things out. I think spring season's over. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I've never shot a turkey though. I haven't had time this spring to go, and I know that sounds stupid coming from a hunter saying I don't have.
Well, you've been busy, man. You're working.
During the week I'm with Dad, hanging board and busting up concrete, and then on the weekend I'm trying to be Waylon Hanel the singer.
Right on. You know, do you have any streams there as well that you fish on by your place?
No, not too much by my place. I mean, I guess a stream you would say. We fish the Flint River a lot.
Okay.
Rifle River. We go up to the Cuts in Quantico by the bay.
Uh-huh.
But we live probably about 300 yards from a lake. It's called Murphy. And our property, it's so cool, man. I'm so glad Mom and Dad bought this house. It's right on state land, and you can walk 300 yards through the state land with no trails, no DNR, nothing, no people, and you can go to that lake. And it is so cool.
What's in that lake?
It's mainly just a sport lake. There's pike. There was muskie in there at one point. No walleye. There's crappie, bluegill. I believe there's rock bass in there. I could be wrong, but I believe there is.
Uh-huh.
And, catfish, I know for sure. Just big variety, but mainly the general fish.
Are you fishing for those pike at all?
When the water's hard, yes.
Oh wow, awesome, man! That's a fish I've never caught before that I want to get, especially on a fly. I want to try it, get it on a fly.
I love catching them on tip ups, man. Just bring in your fingertips and just. It's cool, man.
Awesome. So what's next for you, man? I mean, what's your schedule going on right now? Where are you gonna be playing at?
So I have 3 big shows coming up this summer. The first one is in June, I believe. Is it June 16th? I believe it's June 16th. I'm opening up for Mitchell Tenpenny at the Bay City Country Music Festival.
Wow.
So that's going to be a lot of fun, man. And then July 22nd at the Ionia County Fair it's almost in Detroit. Jackson, Michigan. Sorry. I'm opening for Ashley McBride.
Wow. Awesome, man. Those are big shows.
And then there's one more. I'm trying to find the schedule. Here we go. And then, like I said earlier, I'm opening for Jody Messina again at the Birch Run Speedway, and that's September 16th.
So, what are the audiences of these shows that you're going to be playing at?
Rough, rowdy rednecks.
No, I mean, like, how many people?
Well, I mean, when I opened for Travis Tritt at the Bay City Country Music Festival last year, there was about 5,000 to 6,000 people at that show. So usually around that range.
Uh-huh.
If it's an inside venue, it's usually a little smaller, maybe 1,500 to 2,000.
So when you're walking out there, like you're backstage, and you look out there and you see all those people, man, what's going through your mind?
I mean, quite a bit of stuff. Usually I think of things that can go wrong.
Right.
Because I wear cowboy boots, like rolling my ankle out, walking
right
out there, tripping over myself, my strings breaking, dropping my pick. And those are things that I think about. But as soon as I'm in front of the microphone, this is literally what I think. If anything goes wrong, I don't give a shit.
Awesome. That's great.
It's when I'm in front of the microphone singing for people, because the hard part's over. You're there now.
Yeah. And so you're up there. It's basically like a flow, probably, huh? Everything just starts flowing and working, and the crowd's responding, and you're in it. I
couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, and it's like you're seeing all those smiling faces looking up at you and just digging your music, man. That must be an amazing feeling. Can you describe that feeling?
Yeah, I can. So the one of the coolest feelings, and I will be honest, is seeing like all my family, my little cousins, when they come to my shows, they're front row, and it's just very cool to see so much support, especially from my family. Most families are, music's not a good career. You need to get a real goddamn job. But I'm just so happy that I have a family that supports me so much. Like my grandparents, my grandpa Matt and my grandma Deb, my dad's parents, they went down to Texas with us this last time. So it was like pretty much a family trip. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that makes it, worthwhile is when I see fans singing along to my original stuff,
That's the best.
Like that right there is what gets me.
That's the best, man. Did you have people, or do you have people that say that to you? Like, that's not a real job. Kind of that kind of a vibe, and kind of almost most deep.
Most of the time,
yeah, go ahead.
Most of the time, no.
Yeah.
Because I play damn near 3 shows a week, so that's basically my job. I support myself on it. I have a business account, an LLC, so I'm set up. I file my taxes every year, so I'm set up working for myself. Mm-hmm. But there has been a few times, actually, now that you said it, it actually got brought up 2 days ago. I was coming home from the girlfriend's house, and I was pulling out of her driveway, and the guys that her dad hired to power wash their deck and the side of their house is a guy who lives in Millington, and I forgot his name. I might come back to me, but he goes, "Hey, Waylon, how you doing?" I go, "Not bad. How are you?" He goes, "You staying busy?" I go, "Yeah, I have a phone call to get on around 2:00, and then I have a show later today." He goes, "Well, you've been working?" I go, "Yeah, here and there with Dad when he needs me." He goes, "So you're playing music full time?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, that ain't work." I said, "Well, I mean, yeah, it kind of is. I mean, if you set up phone calls all day, you're pretty busy. It's a full-time job."
Yeah.
It's just funny hearing people, "Well, that's not work." I get a kick out of it.
Yeah, they have no idea what goes into it.
No,
but basically from the songwriting to the practicing to the performance to the traveling to the booking to doing stuff like this podcast to interviews on radio stations. They have no clue. They just see the person up there singing, and that's it.
Exactly. Seriously, the perfect way to describe it, dude. Seriously, it's crazy how much little people know about, like, how much it takes to get one song recorded. Yeah. From, like that, writing it, finishing it, getting it recorded. It's just crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and musicians are probably some of the hardest working folks out there, and they don't get paid very much in the beginning. You drive 200 miles to make $50 and and you lose money coming back. It's just part of what musicians do, and trying to make it out there and have a good time at the same time.
Well, like your the buddy that you mentioned earlier, the rock guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's doing. He's busting his ass, driving around all over hell.
Yeah.
To get his name out there.
Yeah.
And one of these days, some guy is going to appreciate him so much that they're going to make a phone call and he might get a shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, that's how quick it can happen.
Yeah, for sure. Are you doing all your marketing yourself too? And like the socials and all that? Are you doing that all yourself?
We do it mostly we do it ourselves, me and Ma. Mm-hmm. We hire, like I mentioned earlier, Music City Media.
Yeah.
One of the best publicist marketing teams in Nashville. And we're working with them right now. We're actually about to enter another 6-month contract with them. But
nice.
They handle quite a bit of our social media.
Uh-huh.
Mainly what they do is photography. They actually, it's PR. That's what they help do.
What is it in the future? Like where do you see yourself in 5-10 years from now?
I love answering this question, man, because this is what I usually say, and I'm being dead honest. I would like to be financially stable, married with maybe a couple kids.
Yeah.
with a house, moved out of my mom and dad's.
Awesome.
But I would really like to see myself landing a recording contract with the right label. I don't know what that label could be yet.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully one that doesn't steal from you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've done my research in Nashville, but that's where I'm trying to look for, or going on tour with somebody. I would love to. I would love to tour with George Strait and Chris Stapleton right now.
You know what? It's going to happen, man.
I would hope so, and I'm trying to believe in myself a little bit more, because I hear so many people say, "Waylon, you're going to make it. Waylon, you're going to make it," and I want to believe them, but I don't want to put my head in that space until I see big things happen. Like, of course it's big opening for Ashley McBride and Mitchell Tenpenny, but I'm the one thing I can brag about, I have a good head on my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds very stupid, but no. I know I do. I come from a great family, good background. We are very normal people, big hunters. So that's what I can say about that.
I've told this to other folks too, is that, I'm a musician as well. And, how blessed are we as musicians to be able to play in front of people, no matter what size the audience is, just being able to, write songs and put them out there and see people's reactions. I mean, that's a blessing in itself, don't you think?
You're right, man. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the coolest thing ever, to be able, it doesn't matter if we're playing, for 5 people to, 5,000, 10,000 people, man, we're just doing what we love.
Exactly.
I really want to thank you for being on my podcast and sharing your story. And, I can feel it, man. Just keep manifesting those thoughts, and it's going to happen for you, man.
Well, thank you very much, Guy. I really appreciate it. I've had such a blast talking to you. We need to do this again. Okay. Sounds good, man. I'm threatening to come out there to Michigan and do some brown trout fishing and steelhead fishing, man. And, checking that area out for sure. Yeah. Well, I'll be here with you with a 5th of whiskey waiting. I love it, man. Well, thanks again, man. I really appreciate it. If you have any, handles you want to say, where to find you, go ahead and do that now, if you don't mind. Yeah. So you can find, I have a website, waylonhanel.com. That's WAYLONHANEL.com. You can find my schedule is on there. My merch is on there. All that kind of good stuff. A little bit about me. You can find me on Facebook. It's Waylon Hanel Music, the same way I spelled it before. And on Instagram is the same thing, Waylon Hanel Music. We post all my dates, what I do day to day, pretty much. Just up to date everything through the months and weeks and all that on Facebook and Instagram. So you can find me on all those platforms. And for my music, you can find it on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, wherever you get your music, I'm on there. I've already turned a bunch of people onto it, man, out here in the West. Oh, cool as hell. Right on. Well, hang on. I got a couple more questions I want to ask you, but I'm just going to say bye to you right now on the podcast. So Waylon, thanks again, buddy. We'll talk soon. Of course, man. Thanks for having me. Okay. Bye-bye.
Guy Jeans Podcast.